Hey, it's Rachel. If you're new, I started Moon Club and I decided to build the village brick by brick, like peer support for mothers who need the longer version sometimes. So tonight my husband is here. We're not here to teach. We're just here to tell the truth. If you're a husband listening while you wash the bottles or a wife who wants your husband to hear this in a man's voice, this one's for you. I'm asking, he's answering. Let's go. Okay, first of all, thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me on your podcast.
Thank you, thank you. So I'm going to ask very clear questions, and you're gonna answer to all the husbands who really don't know what just happened to their wives and they need a little bit of advice and guidance. So what was the first moment you realized this wasn't just new mom tired, and what did you actually see?
Well, so this was our second child. So I saw the first child, the first kid, um, perfect pregnancy, perfect postpartum healing. And then you were back on track, call it. So, and then we had a 4-year gap between our two kids. And so I knew what the regular process looked like. And so this definitely raised some red flags when I saw that you were just acting a little differently. You were, more agitated, more irked, not sleeping as well, um, going to sleep later, waking up later, just not your overall, you're not being yourself.
What are the three things you did every day that helped, even if they felt small?
Um, I think small gestures are much more valuable than, trying to do one big thing that will solve everything, because there isn't one thing that will solve it. It's small baby steps that, you know, rebuild after something like this. And so it's a process. It doesn't just happen overnight, and it's not one major thing. So doing small things like taking the kids to school, or making coffee in the morning, or making breakfast in bed for you, or dealing with the shopping, uh, or bringing a cleaner to the house, or getting a babysitter in the evening. Just small things that collectively are able to reduce the overall burden that's on your shoulders and allow you to have space, to collect yourself, to decompress, and to heal.
Thanks for that. Beautiful.
Yeah.
Okay. Before you witnessed it, what did you think postpartum depression looked like? And what advice would you give the new fathers?
That's a great question. To be honest, I never really knew about it. I had just heard about it, in passing, or I read about it briefly, just online or in forums or whatever, but I never looked into it. And thank God I never experienced it until, it happened to us. It was never on my radar. And so, um, I really didn't know much about it. But now looking back, with all the experience and wisdom that I've gained, I think that people should be, more aware of the truth of postpartum depression, um, namely that it affects about 20 to 30% of women. So chances are that out of a group of 5 people, at least one of them has experienced it. 5 women, at least one of them has experienced it, or is actively experiencing it. So it's not as uncommon as people think. Some people just, you know, think that it's like a rare disease. It's really not. It affects much more people than we probably expect. And so knowing that it's not some rare condition, and that it's common, and it's in almost every household, or in many, many households, is reassuring, first of all, that you're not going through this alone. Many, many people are going through this. And there are ways and there are methods to get through it as well.
Thank you so much. When I said I am not okay, what story did you tell yourself about what that meant for you as a husband?
I immediately started blaming myself, um, that it's my fault, that maybe I could have done something different, or maybe I wasn't, you know, a good enough husband or a good enough partner. Um, and that actually took time for me to understand that it's not anyone's fault and it just happens and it's normal and it's common and there's a pretty standard method of treating it that has a extremely high success rate. I believe in the upper 90%, 90s, like 95, 97% success rate in treating it. And so if you detect it, if you catch it quick enough, meaning in the beginning, you don't let it, deteriorate. You go see a professional, you get support, um, and on a case by case basis, if you need treatment, if you need medicine, if you need therapy, whatever it is, some women just need sleep. Some women just need a babysitter. Other women might need an SSRI, which can help regulate um, their uh, their serotonin levels because it physically affects serotonin levels. So whatever you may need on a case by case basis, there's solutions out there, and this is very easily curable. Just like if you break your foot, you go to the doctor, you get a cast, or they fix the bone, and then after a few weeks or months, you're back to walking again. So it's not a permanent condition. This does not affect women permanently for their entire life. It's a temporary condition that usually starts within a year after birth and usually does subside within a couple months treated properly.
I had a post on Instagram that maybe we should hold mothers, not just newborns, right? And when did you shift from how's the baby to how's my wife? And what changed when you did that?
So babies are resilient. As ironic as that sounds, babies do not need to be babied. You can put them in the crib, put them in the bouncer. They do not need to be held all day. They're usually okay. You can put them in the doona. And so in these very fragile moments of PPD, you don't have to feel guilty for putting your baby down. You do not have to feel guilty for getting a babysitter to take your kid on a walk. You do not have to feel guilty for dropping your baby off at your mother's house. You have to prioritize yourself and switch your mindset from feeling guilty to getting into an action mode where you take actionable steps to help your spouse during these times. You don't have to feel guilty about the baby at all.
I feel like people forget that women need more attention and healing. Of course, babies have to be taken care
They
of,
don't need healing.
but they don't need healing.
They're born perfectly fine.
They have ready-made breakfast, lunch, dinner all
Yep.
the time, and they sleep the whole like
You just
24
have to
hours.
keep them clean, keep them fed, keep them rested, take them out in the sun. But they really don't need much, especially in the first uh, 3 months. I remember my daughters, they slept most of the day and didn't move, just like literally like a doll. And so there's so many opportunities and so much time to be able to really work on the PPDs and cultivating the right environment for healing.
How do you think the family's well-meaning advice, like just having more, my wife never had this, or like the parents said that, oh, I've never experienced this, I don't know what to tell you. How do you think it impacts the families, and how would someone learn to protect their home without dishonoring anyone. And in our community, we don't really talk about this. What were you afraid people would think about me or about you or about us? And what happened when you said it out loud anyway?
So I wasn't afraid, or I wasn't worried either. And when I said it out loud, people just shared their own personal stories as well. And I was actually surprised that so many people experience it. And so it even gave us perspective that, wow, as hard as it is, there's people that are going through it way harder. And some family members will be like that. They will give you their opinion and perspective on it, and you don't have to listen to them. You could love them and disagree with them.
I really appreciate your honesty. There's really nothing to be afraid of, and there's nothing shameful about it. And I feel like many couples don't really talk enough about this because of the fear of judgment around the family members or the friends and work and like their, you know, environment. Okay, what was the exact sign that told you we cannot do this alone anymore? And what did you actually do in the next 24 hours?
So there was a couple things, some of which I'm going to keep private. However, there was a moment where uh, the situation kind of got a little scary. And so I engaged a doctor relative of mine and asked for his advice. First of all, he reassured me and told me that this is normal and that this happens, and that, he basically gave like a quick diagnosis on the spot, which reassured me because I really wasn't sure what was going on. And so knowing that it was within this framework and within this box called PPD, did give me some reassurance, although it was a diagnosis. It wasn't easy to hear it, but at least it wasn't something else. At least we knew what it was. And so at that point, he gave us some very helpful referrals, and we made some appointments, and we really started the process of seeking professional help with good people. Although that process did have its ups and downs, we did go to some places that were not the best, and we did, got burnt on in some areas, but we quickly were able to move on from that, and thank God find really good care, with really good professionals who were able to help and guide us and stabilize the situation and really give us the tools to be able to understand, navigate, and grow from what has happened.
There's ups and downs and
Yeah.
good days and better days,
Yeah.
obviously, but Baruch Hashem, I'm very happy for all the support and everything that Hashem sent me for everyone, all the shluchim. Um, and I'm forever grateful to be out of it because it really takes a toll not only on your life but on people relying on you and living with you, right? It's very, very challenging. It was very hard, but thank God for everything. Like in my episode, I spoke about the letter that gave me permission to heal. And if you remember, we went through that day together when we left one of the doctor's appointment all frustrated, and I just suggested that we should go to Ohel. Right? I felt like I had answer waiting for me in the Ohel, and I want to ask you, what did you feel that day after the whole thing happened, from from the appointment to the answer of the Rebbe?
It felt like there was a guiding hand of God throughout the whole entire process, and that only only at the end of it were you able to see the hand of God. So in the moment going through it, you were sort of in a turbulence, in an emotional turbulence. But when you let go and the day came to a close, you really saw how everything was pre-planned, predetermined, pre-negotiated by the master of this universe.
Yeah, that's true. And now I look at this experience like the biggest blessing because I felt like I was able to finally like meet Hashem and see his light as if like face to face, which drew me closer and closer to him. And since then, I'm literally obsessed with Hasidus and asking you questions about everything, all the terms in Hasidus, the Tanya, the Mamarim, and all those things really helped me go through this. And I felt like I had the perfect shaliach. Like you were the perfect shaliach to like answer all my questions, which like gave me this sense of safety every time. Like I felt like I had someone who to face to, you know? Okay, if a husband is listening and he's scared to call the Rav or the therapist or Hatzalah, what would you tell him about asking for help being a sign of strength and not failure?
It's easier to ask for forgiveness than to ask for permission. So don't be afraid of acting. Don't be afraid of asking. Don't be afraid of doing. If you need to do something to fix or carry the situation that's happening, that's going on in your life, don't be ashamed of it and own it and just act. Think less, do more. Don't be afraid to reach out to people. There are organizations that can help. There are people in the community that specialize in these things, and you can call them 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Call them Shabbos afternoon, they're answering their phone, and they will guide you, they will help you, they will make you feel heard, seen, validated. And there's, just so you know, there's so many people in the community, regular people who have helped other people, who have been there for other people, and just offer themselves as messengers and guides to those who experience this. You're not alone in this.
Thank you very much. And moving forward, and last but not least, what would be the message you would give the couples going through this right now?
Give yourself grace. Do not be harsh on yourself. Do not feel guilty for anything. Most people are not aware of the ups and downs of this challenge. And so it's really not fair to yourself or to your partner to be judgmental or blaming each other or blaming yourself for being, for not being enough, et cetera, et cetera. Just take it day by day, minute by minute, and give yourself space. Create some space for yourself. Go to the gym, go on a walk, meet a friend, whatever you have to do to regulate yourself in those moments. And do not do it alone. Reach out for help. You can call me, you can text me. There are many, many organizations, and there's so much information online as well, and so much helpful resources. And last, but certainly not least, there's Hashem, who is always with you, no matter what. In every moment of struggle, He is there, right there with you. Lean on Him, rely on Him, push Him. He's waiting for you.
Thank you so much for being here with me in this episode. I really appreciate your support and all your honest answers. And for the listeners, see you next time.